everyone, and welcome to Skincare and Beyond, your go-to beauty podcast where we go deeper than skin deep. I'm Kimberley.
And I'm Suzanne. We're part of the customer service team here, and we like to speak to customers every day, helping them figure out their perfect skincare routine.
And in today's episode, we're going to be diving into something really close to our hearts, skincare advice sessions, which are one-to-one chats, and we offer where we can talk to us about anything skincare related, and we'll guide you through the best products, routines, and tips for your skin.
So let's get into our first customer question. I have combination skin. How do I stop my T-zone getting oily without drying out the rest of my face?
So for this one, I don't know about you, Suzanne, but I'd probably opt for like an oil-free mattifying SPF. So one like the HelioCare oil-free gel, and do this as your last step because that's really going to help to mattify the T-zone area but hydrate the other areas. Other things that we could probably go for are use as a treatment once or twice a week is like maybe a clay mask. Mm-hmm. So I know that there's a couple of brands, isn't there, that do different clay masks, and they really help to absorb the excess oil that obviously is in your T-zone area. Maybe opt for like what I call a doing toner, so ones that have got like your glycolic acid in, salicylic in, but you could use that just on the T-zone area, so it really helps to absorb the excess oil, helping with any blocked pores, but also going to help mattifying throughout the day without irritating. And then anything that's got a niacinamide in, because obviously that's really, really good at helping the control of oil.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Would you
Absolutely,
think anything
yeah.
else?
I think also adding in that vitamin A to my nighttime
routine
perfect. Can
yeah.
help with that. So a lot of our customers use a retinol now anyway, but we know that will help with the cellular turnover, but also help in that reduction of oil as well.
Yeah, no, fabulous. So hopefully that one's answered that question. So the next one is to you, Suzanne. Do I really need to double cleanse every night?
I would say yes to this one, because in our daytime routine, we are using a lot of, different layers of actives, ingredients, and they will penetrate and do the magic where they need to be. But we'll also use an SPF or a bit of makeup and things like that. So when we're double cleansing, what we're doing is we're helping to really clear out those pores, just lift off any debris that might sit in there. And also then it allows us to, make sure that we've really got that, that SPF and that debris off the skin and wash away the day, really. Some people might say, oh, well, I don't wear makeup, but they will have still had the SPF on, hopefully. Yep. So just removing that just helps the skin to be prepped and primed, ready for those actives for night times.
Yeah. What would you use, like two separate cleansers, or would it depend? What do you tend to do?
Yeah, so it depends on my skin type, really. So we know that oil attracts oil. So a pre-cleanse like the Environ pre-cleansing oil is nice to use, or you might use a cleansing balm. It helps with for a drier skin, for hydration as well. So yeah, it depends on the skin type, but I would generally tend to say, because a lot of us use an active cleanser, using that pre-cleanse just means that we're going to protect the barrier as well.
Yeah. Fab.
Yeah. So the next question we've got is, I'm in my 50s. What's a product that I should definitely be using?
I can't pick just one product, unfortunately. So this is a really, really hard question, because for me, you've got core products, especially for anybody in the 50s, is you want products that are really going to stimulate anything that's collagen. So to pick one product is just impossible. There's 4 key ones that are really going to help. So vitamin C, because obviously that helps increase collagen. Retinol, because obviously as we get older, our cell turnover obviously gets sluggish. And obviously that helps with obviously your collagen. Peptides as well, which is a really good one. And then the other one is an SPF. Yeah. So I suppose if you wanted to pick one, an SPF, if you really wanted to. But for me, them 4 key things are definitely vitamin C, a retinol, peptides, and an SPF.
Yeah, I think I was just going to go straight in with the SPF if that was my one product that I could only ever use. Yeah. And would you say also maybe in the 50s we need to again look at how the hormones are changing our skin as well? So for some of our customers, they do find that their skin becomes a little drier. Yeah. So focusing on that hydration. Yeah. Maybe changing our cleanser slightly as well. Maybe putting in something with a little bit of a PHA in there, so it's a gentle exfoliation as opposed to being too aggressive.
Too aggressive. Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes as well as a lot lot of people used to always want a wash. Whereas, like you say, probably when your skin gets a little bit more drier, you might want something a little bit more creamy, but also that you can wash off, but obviously just so it's not drying and it feels a bit more comfortable on the skin. Yeah, definitely.
A lot of our customers will say, you know, they like a cream cleanser, especially in that kind of age bracket, just for taking makeup off, as well as we were saying about pre-cleansing and things like that. It's just that routine that you get used to on an evening, and it hydrates the skin as well.
Yeah. The next question is one that we hear quite often. So how do I know if I'm using too many actives?
Yeah, so there are so many products on the market now that we know that we need to include certain core ingredients. Yeah. But it does get a little bit noisy sometimes as well. So people tend to find that they're using one thing, then another thing, then another thing. And so I do really try and find, you know, look at those core ingredients. We might find that our skin is, you know, a little bit irritated, a little bit red, a little bit flaky. Listen to your skin is something that we say constantly. So yes, definitely include those actives, but listen to how the skin is presenting. You know, if we're putting vitamin A on every night and the skin is, you know, becoming a little bit red and flaky and dry and sore, pull back. You know, it's your skin. Everyone's different. Yes, the product might say use it every night, but it might be that you can only use it a couple of nights a week, and that's okay. Yeah. So I would just say, kind of with sensitivity and things like that, that's how we know we're putting too much on. So just listen to your skin. Yeah.
And also I think it's looking at like your actives, so don't use like your glycolics, salicylics, retinols all sort of in the same time and layering it if your skin is not used to it, just because it will be a little bit too sensitive in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could alternate your AHAs on, maybe use that on a morning, your retinol on a night time, or, you know, every other night.
Yeah.
So next up, can I use vitamin C and niacinamide together?
So yes, you can. So a couple of years ago, a lot of people said that you can't use them together because they counteract, but new studies have found that you can. The reason I say probably wouldn't is because sometimes they can cause a little bit of irritation if you use them together. So what I would normally recommend is to use vitamin C in the morning, because obviously that's your antioxidant, and then use your niacinamide on a night time, because that's one that's going to help with, obviously helping with oil regulation, helping to calm any irritation. So I would probably say if you want to use them both, unless the product has got both of them in, which obviously then it's safe to do so. If not, vitamin C in the morning, niacinamide in the night time. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And your niacinamide and retinol together are like a power couple. Yeah. So that fits in really well with that if you've got your retinol on a night time. And also with your niacinamide, you know, it's taking down any inflammation as well. A really good way of putting them together. Yeah.
Perfect. And the next one, this one is a really common one. So my skin feels dry after cleansing. What should I do?
Right. So there's a couple of checklists on this one. The first thing is your cleanser might be a little bit too harsh for your skin. So the cleansers come in lots of different formats. So we've got foam cleansers, we've got gel cleansers, we've got cream cleansers. You might find that a foam cleanser is a little bit too drying for you. Yeah. But also a lot of people are using water that's too hot. So you know, if we would say just a warm water rather than a really hot water. Okay. So that's another checklist I would say, you know, what's the water like you're using? And also, you know, make sure you are then after cleansing using your serums for hydration, using your moisturizer to lock that in. Just see what you're using and how you're using it really. So it might just be that either your cleanser's too harsh, there's too much that's stripping the, you know, the skin, or it could just be as simple that the water's too warm.
Yeah, because I think some people think that if I use a cleanser, I want that squeaky clean feeling, but actually that can be a sign that it's stripping too much and taking off the natural oils, can't it?
So we want that, you know, we want to keep that acid mantle balanced. Yeah. So don't be too squeaky clean.
No.
So this one's a bit of a controversial question. Do I need an eye cream or can I just use my moisturizer?
So this one is a controversial one because some people are like, do I really need to use an eye cream? What is, you know, the point of it really? So for me, if you've got a moisturiser that is just designed and tested for just on the face or neck area, then it's not being tested around your eyes. So therefore it could cause irritation. It could cause puffiness to the eye area. And then the other thing we've got is if you've got a specific eye concern and you're using a face moisturiser, it's not going to address it because it's going to have different ingredients in. Yeah. So for me, if you've got a dark circles, most eye creams for that will have caffeine in. And in a normal face moisturiser, they won't. So for me, it is look at what actually concern is, look what actually quality of your moisturizer is. And then if you have got a specific concern for your eye, then yes, definitely use specific eye cream. If not, just be really wary of using it if it's not tested around the eye area to taking it too close to your eye. That's probably what I would say for that one.
Yeah, because if you've got something in that moisturiser, like you say, that it could make your eyes water. A lot of my customers, I'll say, you know, in the summer, hay fever and things like that.
Yeah.
They're rubbing their eyes, so their eyes do become puffy. So looking at something that's just going to address that thin skin around the eye area.
Yeah, because it migrates, doesn't it? So if you're putting something too rich or too greasy around that eye area, then it's going to migrate. And like you say, if you're then perspiring or hot, you're rubbing it, you're just going to rub it into your eyes and cause irritation, aren't you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this next question is, I get hormonal breakouts and should I switch my routine during my cycle?
The biggest thing for me with skincare is consistency. So if you've got a routine, when you're swapping and changing products, firstly, the ingredients in the products aren't going to have time to work.
Yeah.
And also the skin is a little bit like a baby. I say this to everyone all the time. So it needs routine. So if we're swapping and changing that routine, it's going to kick off a little bit. Yeah. Skin's already, dealing with the hormonal fluctuations. What you might do is, kind of that week that the skin is breaking out a little bit, you might increase it by putting in a spot on treatment.
Yeah.
Or you might add in a mask, like a clay mask again, we mentioned earlier, just to control any kind of excess sebum that's created by the hormonal fluctuations. But other than that, really, if you've got a core routine, it's just those little add-in products you might add in just to kind of save the skin in that period of time. So like a little face mask or something like that. We've got a lot of brands that offer those key ingredients that'll just help with that hormonal breakout. But I wouldn't say that dramatically I would change the routine in any way.
No. So I'm the same with the hormonal breakouts. I do get a few sort of around the chin area, and I do the same. I do consistency. I just use the same products all of the time because they're going to come up, but then obviously you use the same products, they're going to heal a lot quicker as well. But I do add in, if they're quite sore, I do add in just like a clay mask as a spot on treatment, and it just helps it to go down and it stops me wanting to mess with them.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. Don't mess with them. Pop a little bit of salicylic on the area, just to kind of dry it out a little bit, and really work on that clogged pore.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Help. My skin is breaking out after starting retinol. Is this purging or is it a reaction?
So it is purging. Unless basically you, like we said earlier, unless it's really, really sore, really, really irritated. But a normal purging is dry, flaky, a little bit red, can be a little bit sensitive. But you need to push through that to get to your beautiful, clear, healthier skin on the other side. It's only going to be temporary. It's there to clear out all the impurities and dead skin cells on the surface. It's there to do a job. We need to push through that. Otherwise, if you dip in and out of it all of the time, you're never going to get to the end point that you're wanting to. So it is purging. It's not a reaction. But just make sure that you either follow our advice, another, practitioner's advice, and you're not starting on the top scale one and you are working up in the stages depending on what brand it is, probably.
Low and slow with retinol if we're first introducing it. And, we might see, if we was to see an irritation or a reaction as such, it would feel intensely itchy and really sore quite quickly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would,
and it doesn't generally tend to be that. It tends to be the overuse. So always with the rule of introducing a retinol 2 nights a week, build up to every other night, and then every night if we can tolerate it. And then even if we're moving up to a next level, because retinol comes in lots of different ways of delivery systems, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So it's just about, taking on what works for you and just going steady. It's not really a race. You're not racing against anyone else. It's skincare. No. Your skin is yours. So you just have to tailor it to yourself.
Yeah. And just remember, purging is temporary. You will get through it and it will be better on the other side for it.
Definitely.
So the next question we've got is, what's the best way to layer products in the morning?
Always the rule, thinnest to thickest. So mainly applies with that. Kind of the exception to the rule is your SPF, which we know we're going to add on at the end of our routine. So on a morning, we're going to cleanse. We might use a toner, and then we're going to use our serums. Often it's vitamin C first, depending on how that's delivered.
Yeah.
And then we would go moisturizer, SPF. It's just about allowing the products to penetrate.
Yeah.
If we put something on that's too thick, we're not going to then get a serum through it.
Yeah. And sometimes it will tell you, obviously, on the packaging, depending on what brand it is, it'll tell you when to apply it. But yeah, general rule of thumb is thinnest to thickest, unless obviously it's in a different consistency that it states, really.
Yeah.
That's a general rule of thumb.
Nice, easy one, really.
Yeah.
So this one's a seasonal question. Should I change my skincare routine in the summer?
Yes and no. So you do want to, because obviously most skin types will need to opt for things like lighter textures, so like gel creams rather than like rich moisturizers, and also serums. Unless your skin is very dry, then you potentially won't need to switch. But if your skin's more normal combination, you'll find that you'll probably get a little bit more oilier in the summer months. But also sometimes skin can get a little bit more sensitive, can't it, in seasonal, especially in the summer. So also be careful with things like retinols, your glycolics, especially if you're obviously going to be spending a lot of time outdoors or in the sun time. I personally do change my routine because my skin is more on the oilier side. So I do go for a serum rather than using my creams. And I do tend to find that I do use my retinol actually more, but only on an evening. And I make sure that obviously I use a really good sun protection factor obviously the following day. But some, like my mum, who's got a bit more of a drier skin type, she doesn't change her routine really as such, just because obviously she doesn't need to be skinned, because the skin's not going to get more oily.
Yeah. And again, like obviously in winter, we know that in winter we've got the
central heat and everything. Yeah.
We're taking them hotter showers to warm us up. So we are drying the skin out. So yeah, we do change skincare through the seasons, but again, with a consistency. So it might just be that it is literally just going for a lighter
texture.
Yeah, lighter hydrator or something like that. So
yeah,
that's where we tend to go with that.
And then the last one is SPF 30 enough, or do I need 50?
Yes and no. So yes, SPF 30 is enough as long as we're reapplying. So it's the same for any kind of SPF. We know that SPF 50 is giving us a little bit more protection, but SPF 30 is absolutely fine as long as we're sensible. Every hour and a half to 2 hours, we need to be reapplying. We have some fantastic products where we can kind of apply even over makeup. Because a lot of people ask me the question, well, how can I apply it, over makeup? So using a spritz or a spray to top up throughout the day is really, ideal. And just being sensible. As with anyone, if we're going out and we're in a lot of UV exposure, have a hat on, make sure that we're not kind of baking in the sun at midday. Yeah. We use a lot of ingredients and products that they use all over the world in hot climates, but it's just about, understanding how to be safe in the sun.
I mean, I recommend people to use an SPF 50 purely for the fact that most people don't use enough sun cream. So if they use a 50, then you're more likely it's going to be a lower SPF. But if you know somebody is really good and they use the right amount for the face and the neck, or obviously anywhere else in the body, then like you say, 30 is fine, but you just need to make sure you're using the right amount so you get the right amount of coverage and protection.
Yeah, it's literally just about being sensible. So many people think, I've put it on once that day. Yeah. It really isn't enough.
No.
Especially even, it's the same sun wherever you go. So
it's not a different one.
It's not a different one. So we just need to make sure we're protecting the skin.
Perfect. And that's a wrap on today's question and answers. So we hope this episode has helped clear up some of your skincare questions, any confusion and any doubts that you had with skincare.
And if you've still got questions or you just want help building your routine, we'd love to chat with you. You can either book a virtual skin consultation or give us a call anytime.
And it's completely personal, totally pressure-free, and we're always here to help.
Thanks for listening to Skincare and Beyond, and don't forget to subscribe and share with anyone who's as skincare obsessed as we are.
And take care of your skin, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.